Hey everybody, welcome to Angel Meadows Conversation with Friends. And my friend this evening, well for me it's this evening, for her it's it's good morning. Um is hold on a second, Refres. Is Selva Dutton. Selva is what is it, 6:30 in the morning, Selva, where you are?
Sure is 6:30 a.m. on a Monday morning.
Oh gosh, you are my future, darling. You are my future. So for those
I
who
love it.
are in the those who are in the chat and who will be listening in the archives, um, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Oh God, talking about myself is one of my pet hates. I'm South American by birth. I was born in a small little country, Uruguay, in the heart of South America. Population of Uruguay is only 3 million, so it's a beautiful little country. Really, really, really nice. My language is Spanish, so I speak Spanish and I speak English. So I think I'm bilingual. I reckon that's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And and I connected with the spirit when I was 4 years old. The very first time I connected with the spirit, I remember I was playing with my girlfriend in her backyard, and I saw my granddad had a motorbike accident, crashed against the pole. And
Mhm.
I said, "Oh, what's that?" Anyway, and I said, "Oh, that's granddad." Anyway, so my granddad came for a visit that day, and then I noticed he had a happy birthday Selva thing. My granddad did not ever spend 2 cents on us, ever.
Uh-huh.
So that
Okay.
really got my attention because I know he wouldn't spend money on us. Anyway, I was only 4 years old. So when Granddad came for a visit, I said, "Hey, Granddad, you're going to die riding your bike." I didn't understand death anyway, but I knew that was it because I could see him crashing the bike and then his
Mhm. Yeah.
soul leaving his body and taking off. And he goes, "Oh, well, it's time to work with you," he said to me. I said, "Okay, cool. I don't know what you're talking about, but, I was only 4." So then he started taking me to his reading. My granddad was a reader himself and a healer.
Mhm.
So wherever Granddad went, Selva tagged along for the ride, you know. So, and I just started talking and working and touching people and things like that. It was like playing for me, and I like a bit of blood and guts and things like that. So it didn't worry me, when I could see things like that. It didn't scare me or anything like that. I think it would scare me more now,
Mhm.
as I got older. But when I was a kid, I didn't faze me. It did not faze me whatsoever. And then that went on for a couple of years. And then I remembered the card that my granddad was carrying on the accident. It said 6. So I clicked on my 6th birthday. So just before my 6th birthday, I remember starting to get a little bit funny about my granddad leaving my side, and I used to beg him, "Don't ride your bike today. Don't ride your bike." And
Okay.
my granddad was a biker from way back. He used to ride a beautiful Indian bike. Oh,
Mhm.
it's the most beautiful bike I ever seen in my life, you know. Anyway, and on my birthday, I woke up and it was just went quiet, and my dad said, "What's wrong with you, Selva?" I said, "Dad, I don't feel like talking. I'm going up to Christina's house." So I went up to Christina's house, and then the police car went past. And I looked at my girlfriend. I said, "My granddad's dead. I better run home." So I ran home, and I got there just as the coppers were about to knock at the door.
Mhm.
And so I ran in and I said to my dad, "Oh, Dad, your dad's dead. The policeman came to tell you." And of course, the policeman looked at me. But in South America, they're not surprised at things like that because you're encouraged to wake up your psychic. You're encouraged to be communicating with the spirit and that. So it didn't really face the officers at all. They go, "Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, he's another widow kid. Um, and my dad looked at me, and then he looked at the police. "Is that true?" I said, "Yeah, we need you to come and identify the body, please." So we did, you know. and it's just as I thought. He had the first time ever he buys me lollies, not happy, and he had a birthday card with a sixth birthday card. I said, "Oh my God." You know, the only time you ever spend money on me and it kills you. You know, I knew it would kill him to spend money on people. So anyway, I shouldn't joke about things like that, but it's not. You've got to take it with a laugh.
We
anyway,
have to have a sense
so yeah,
of humor.
so that was it. Yeah, it's healthy. So that was it, and then it went for it was about 21 days, and I said, oh my God, you know, I feel alone because being with my granddad for those 2 years here and there and everywhere, you sort of it didn't build my confidence. I just felt safe doing it with granddad around, you know.
Yeah.
And then I was talking to one of my energies. See, let me explain. You know, you guys call it guides, but see, we better explain this so you understand it. Because I will only call them energies. I'm not going to call them guides. The reason I only call them energies because a guide to us in South America does not have a shape or a gender or whatever. It's an energy. It's an energy form, and we believe that they take on the form that you are comfortable with. So if you love American Indian, you'll end up having an American guide. If you like, I don't know, dancers, well, it'll take the shape of a dancer, you know. So a spirit, an energy will take shape of a form that makes you comfortable, so you're able to allow that energy into you so you can work with that energy in direction, okay? That doesn't mean it's correct, but that's the way that I've been taught, all right? And everybody can have their own opinion. And so that energy actually transformed into my granddad. I watched it transform from an energy to the shape of my granddad, you know?
Yeah.
And I go, oh, granddad, you're back. And he goes, no, I'm not back, really. I'm not here, but I'm here. And then I finally understood the difference of being a spirit and being alive.
Right.
You know, he said, you are the only one that can see me. Nobody else can see me.
Okay.
I said, so all those people that we sit with in the meditation room, are they there or not? He goes, yeah. And he goes, well, at times they were, and at times they weren't.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was that. So that was beautiful. That was beautiful. So in spirit, I think that's when I really got to know my granddad. You know, he was with me all the time. And I would go up to my dad and tell things all the time. And my dad used to just brush it off. He'd go, oh, yeah, whatever. You know, here he comes over with another little story, you know. He never discouraged me, though. Never, ever. He always listened. He always encouraged. And he always took note what I was saying, you know. Okay. And so I was very close to my dad. And he would be the first port of call whenever I saw anything or felt anything or whatever. And he would always say to me, just be careful when you tell people, you know. I go, yeah, whatever. But a lot of people never used to take me seriously. But it was okay. I was never pushed away or anything like that until I came to Australia. And then, God, was that a culture shock. Before that, I'm going ahead here. You'll get used to me. I'll go everywhere.
That's okay. That's how we work here.
I used to say to my dad, I said, take me home. And he used to go, you are home. You know, we're in Uruguay. This is a house. I said, no, this is not my house. Take me home. And I knew I spoke another language, okay? And I knew it was English, but I couldn't speak a word of English, right? But I used to think, this is really funny, you know, every time I think about it, I crack up laughing every time I think about it. I used to think that to speak English, all you had to do is add the sound shion to the end of a word, like vacation, instead of, so I would say a Spanish word, right? And I would add the sound shion at the end of it. And to me, well, I must be speaking English, you know. So I'll give you an example, all right? This is going to be a Spanish word with the shion at the end of it, okay? Okay. Hola, Station, amigation, estoy yendo conversation con mi amigation de Darling Nation. Isn't it good? You
Oh God,
understood every
yeah.
word, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh,
I said, I feel like my
yeah.
friend, I'm just having a conversation with Darlene. You know,
I
it's
got
really
the.
weird.
Well,
And
here the
but I
thing is, Spanish is close to French, so I kind of sort of understood.
yeah. Yeah, so I thought, I was speaking perfect English,
Mhm.
So, but when I did came to Australia on the plane, Spirit is such a wonderful person to. I was 13 by then, by the way. I
Mm.
was 12, not quite 13, and on the plane, they give you all this literature, all this migration forms and all that to fill out on the plane,
Okay.
and they're
Yeah.
all written in English. They're not written in Spanish, and nobody spoke English in the plane. Actually, and that's the first time ever, my first ever recollection that I've actually asked Spirit to please help me. I said, help me help these people. I felt such a sadness that these people could not read this paperwork. I felt so terrible, you,
Yeah.
you know. So then, there and then, I spoke English, perfectly.
Hmm.
Better than now, probably. And I went around through the whole plane and helped the air hostess translate all the papers. And everybody filled out their forms and they understood exactly perfect. And I helped the air hostess with lots of different things because they didn't speak Spanish anyway. We were with Qantas, And so I did that. I was lucky, and it was great because I got to go to where the pilot is. It was great. It was a fantastic journey. That was on 1973, February 1973. And then we got to Sydney, right, which is on the other side of Australia to me now because I live on the better side now. And I got to Sydney, and I've never, ever seen a man in shorts. In South America, men don't wear shorts. They don't show their legs. The
Okay.
only
Why
time
is
you see the
that?
legs is when they go swim. They just didn't. They do
Okay.
now, but back in the day,
Yeah.
And on those days, I remember that, the safari suits were the fashion. Remember, I don't know if it was the same at your end of the world, but there was a period, an era that men used to wear safari suits.
Uh huh.
The
My
the
dad
the,
used to wear
the
them.
mood shorts. Yeah, and they used to have those silly socks that used to come up to underneath the knee,
Oh God.
and the shorts
Yes.
were just above the knee. So all you had bearing was just the knee. It's just so funny. I get into Australia, come off the plane, and there's my uncle, right? He was a giant of a man. He was over 6 foot, and he had this safari suit. You could see his knobby knees are sticking out. And I cracked up laughing. I just thought it was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. This man was dressed like a clown. Anyway,
Oh God.
and the air hostess starts talking to me, but the minute I put foot in Australia, all my English was gone. I
Hmm.
couldn't understand the words she was saying anymore. So she was talking to me, and I must have given her this blank face, like, "What are you saying, lady?" Anyway,
Yeah.
she went up and spoke to my auntie and said, "Oh, Mrs. March, Selva translated everything on the plane. She'd worked with us the whole time." And my auntie said, "Selva, what have you been up to?" I got nothing. I just asked my friends to help me, and they did. And I was able to help the people, but I can't speak English now. They took it away. And she goes, and my auntie said that she said to the air hostess, "Look, it's okay. Selva's psychic, and you sort of got to get used to that." This woman looked at her like,
Mhm.
"Oh, my God, lady, you need medication," you know. So
Huh?
I went off, right? So I went off with my auntie and stuff like that. She took us to the hostels because when you migrate into Australia, they put you in a hostel. And it was really, really good. And we were just sitting there at the hostel getting adjusted in there. And, of course, I couldn't understand a word they were saying or anything. I was in first year high school, I remember, and they enrolled me in primary school. Man, was that an insult or what? So
Okay.
they took me to primary school, and there I was with these kids on grade 5. You know, I was nearly 13. You know, I should have been on grade 7. You know. Anyway, so they put me at the primary school, Cabramatta West Primary School. I remember. I didn't know a word of English. You know, and I was just sitting there, and there was a Spanish girl in the class. Her name was Maria. And Maria was an interesting girl, and she used to enjoy actually getting kids in trouble. It was like an enjoyment she had. It was fun for her.
Yeah.
So I asked her. I said, "Look, Maria, I'm a very independent person. I've always been like that. I'm as stubborn as an ox, and I like to do things myself. And I will ask for help when I really, 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 really need it. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I said, Maria, I haven't got any pencils or anything, so I would like to ask the teacher to give me, if I can borrow some. She goes, yeah, I'll go and get it. No, don't go and get it. Teach me. Teach me how to say it. Anyway, so she got me to say a phrase, which I will not repeat on air, because it was rude. It was very rude.
Okay.
And I sat there and practiced. And then I went up to the teacher and said, Mrs. Brown, da-da. And this teacher grabbed me by the ear and took me to the principal's office, and I copped 6 canes. 6 of the best. And I said, oh, my God. So I ran off. I ran out of school. And, of course, I went home to my daddy, you know. So in South America, you never hit anyone's child. Oh, my God. There's no way.
No.
You wouldn't dare. So I went home and told my daddy. Of course, my daddy came back, and he grabbed the teacher by the throat, you know, that you don't touch my daughter, you know. And then another teacher came in, and he said, what's going on? And they mumbled something in English there. But next thing, Maria came, and they asked Maria to interpret. And of course, one thing for sure, Maria was very respectful of grown-ups.
Right.
And my dad asked Maria, I said, Maria, I work with your father. What did you tell my daughter to say to the teacher? And she said, I can't tell you what it means in Spanish because I'll get in trouble. It's a swear word. And then they called another interpreter in to verify the story. And then they were very apologetic. But I didn't go back to school. I said, no, I'm not going back. I'm not going to go to school with a here. No way. What rights do they have? So anyway, so I was 13, and I started wagging school. That was my favorite pastime, wagging school.
Okay, I'm guessing wagging school means not going.
Okay, yeah, wagging school means skipping school without your parents knowing.
Okay.
Sorry, I got to remember Australian slang is not Canadian English. So
no, that's okay. I'll learn new words.
Yeah, well, you will. So anyway, so then, but I had to go sometime because otherwise my brother would dob me in anyway. So I went there, and then about halfway through the year, they transferred me to the high school. They must have realized that, oh my God, you know, she's older than what she is. So I went to the high school, and I found it so boring. See, in South America, you only go to school for 4 hours a day. You either go the morning shift or the afternoon shift. So you go from 8 till 12 or 1 till 5. You choose which one you want to do. Me being an early bird, of course, I was going the morning shift, 8 to 12, you know. Yeah. Then they give you lunch, a full cooked meal lunch, you know, or every child gets fed at school. So you get lunch before school or you get lunch after school. For me, it worked out perfect after school because then I can go and have a siesta and then I can get up and play and whatever, right?
Right.
So, because siesta is very much alive in South America, you know. Anyway, so that was that. So being at school 8 hours a day, it was like, oh my God, you know, how can people do this? You know, 8 hours, you know, I should be outside talking to my friends, to my energy friends. I should be at home doing what I like to do in my own little world, you know. So I could not handle it anyway. So, but I survived it until I was 14. That's huge. And when I was 14, my parents got separated, and I had to choose. Do you stay with your mum or your dad? They actually ask you. It took me 6 months to learn English, by the way. So, but then I spoke English. I could fend myself. I was fine. Um, and um, and I looked at my dad and I said, Dad, I'm not going to with you or with Mum. I'm just going to go. And my dad wasn't worried because he knew I'd be looked after. Yeah. But he didn't think that I would go far, But I did. Anyway, so I did. And then, of course, I hitchhiked. I went hitchhiking. And I got a job in a place called Cocklebiddy, which is in the middle of the Nullarbor. The Nullarbor is a desert in Australia.
Okay.
It's what really unites Western Australia, which I live, which is the best state in the world, and the rest of Australia. All right. So, and there's 1,000 kilometres of a straight road, and it's just beautiful. It's near the Australian Bight. It's just amazing. It's the Nullarbor is full of emptiness, but it has everything. And of course, there's a lot of Aboriginals, like true-blooded Aboriginals, and they are beautiful, beautiful people. They're spiritual. They're just amazing. But in between all that happened, I couldn't do a lot of my spiritual work because people in Australia weren't very receptive to it. Plus, It was illegal. It was illegal to be a clairvoyant. Yeah.
Illegal to be clairvoyant?
It was illegal to be a psychic. They used to call them fortune tellers in those days.
Okay.
And so I learned very quickly that I couldn't just tell anybody. But it's so hard when you're used to just blabbing it, and then you can't do it. It is terrible.
Yeah.
And of course, I got in trouble quite a few times for it, and got bashed quite a few times for it.
Okay.
And I said, I can't tell you what. So we stopped at this roadhouse. The truckie stopped at the roadhouse to put in fuel in that, You call them roadhouses or truck stops?
I know both. I know both, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We stopped at the roadhouse, and there was a sign on the window of the roadhouse, "Cook wanted." And I'm a great cook, actually. And I said, I can do that. I can flip some burgers, and I can do that. So I walked in, and the lady, Mrs. M, she called me by name. And I go, how do you know my name? I said, the truckie just called you your name. But he didn't. So that sort of stayed at the back of my mind, I said, that's weird. Anyway, so I got myself, she said, you got the job. I said, okay, I haven't even told you that I wanted it. I said, yes, you did. I said, it's okay. Look, yeah, I'll have the job. So she took me to my quarters, and there I was, and I had my tarot cards and my crystal ball and stuff like that. I had my little bag of goodies,
Yeah.
And whenever I wasn't working, I would just go and hide in my room and just be in my own little world and meditating. I loved it. It was perfect. It was a good life, just work and play. And then one day, my boss, Mrs. M, was 2 weeks after I started working there, she barged into my room and dragged me out of the room. And I go, I'm in trouble. Well, she must have found out what I did, That's what I thought, And she took me to the back of her house because there was this house built up, and there was a little, I thought it was a granny flat. Anyway, she took me to that little granny flat. And oh my God, Darlene, in that room you walked in, right? And there was crystals, and there was tarot cards, and there was everything. It was like a playground. It was just amazing.
It was like heaven.
She goes, She said, Selva, I got sick and tired of you telling me. I was been waiting for you just to tell me. And they go, oh, there's no way I was going to tell you. You know, I didn't want to lose the job. I mean, this is my home for now, you know.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, my God. I said, I've been waiting for you for so long. She was an English lady. So from then on, I didn't flip another burger. I just spent my whole time playing with her in that room. I was there for 2 years, and we used to do meditation, and we used to do absent healing, and we used to do things like if they went on holidays, I went with them. I just went everywhere with her, you know, and I was there for 2 years. And then after the 2 years, I said, Mrs. M, I go, what, Selva, honey? My dad's coming today. And she said, yeah, I know. You're going to go, aren't you? I go, yeah, I'm going to go with him. So anyway, my dad pulled up, and I went and greeted him, and he gave me a hug, and he said, oh, I knew you'd be fine. How are you? Da, 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 da. We chatted and all that. It's like we've never been apart. And I left. I went west with him, you know. And Mrs. M, you know, I loved her to bits. She had a very special place in my heart because it was the only time in that early stages that I actually felt, oh my God, it's okay to be here. So I traveled around with my dad. He was a bit of a gypsy like me. So wherever you can go, you go. You just get in the car and go. And my dad was in Fremantle for a while, and then he went up north, and I went up north, and so we ended up in Port Hedland, which is the northwest of Western Australia. It's a mining town. They do iron ore. And I was there, and that's where I met my first husband, my very first husband. We were there for 5 years. I was 19 then. It was 3 years, actually, then when I met Brett. Yeah, Brett was my first husband. And he walked into the roadhouse while I was cooking. I was cooking again in the roadhouse. Because I had nobody to play with, so I had to earn some money. And Brett walked into the roadhouse, and it was instant hate. Hate. Okay. I saw him, and I go, oh, yuck. I actually called him a dog. He was a plumber.
Okay.
He was a plumber, and I said, oh, that man's a dog. I hate him. And that's when I found out that the boss that I was working with at the roadhouse, another one, he was an Egyptian guy. He was psychic too. I never knew that until that moment. Yeah. And he said to me, Selva, that is your next husband. I said, don't be pathetic. There's no way I will marry that dog. No way. No way. And he goes, you will. Anyway, and I put it at the back of my mind.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, I go out to the pub with my best friend, my very best friend, Louise. And, of course, she happens to be her cousin, his cousin. I didn't even knew that. So she said, oh, you got to meet my cousin. You got to meet my cousin. And I go, oh, Louise, I don't want to meet your cousin. Anyway, but we did. And when I saw him, she said, oh, that's my cousin over there. There was another guy next to him, and I thought it was the other guy, not him. And I thought, oh, yeah, he's all right. Yeah, he was okay. But then Brett walks up. He walks up with a beer in his hand, right? And he goes, if anybody wishes to talk to me, I'll be in the lounge. And I thought, what? What's with you? Anyway, I left it at that, you know. But he never believed me this, but I really did put him at the back of my mind. I thought nothing of it. I said, oh, bugger it, you know. Yeah. So I went out and I said, oh, we'll go dancing and that. I love dancing. I love music. I can't dance for nuts, but I like jiggling around. So anyway, so we went around and to the other bar, to the lounge, because that's where the music was. And I've forgotten about Brett by then. And there I am. I go straight up to the bar so I can have a beer, right? And I happened to stand next to him. I said, oh, God, how could I do that? And he says, do you want a drink? I said, well, if you're paying, yeah, I'll have a drink. So I got a bit smarty, and then he gave me a beer, and then he stood next to me naturally. And we were just standing there, and then we started talking and talking and talking, you know. And I always said to him, I said, "Oh, you just took advantage of me because I had a few beers and you started looking good. That's all, you know." But anyway, 24 hours later, we were living together. We moved in together. So it was a very short, quick romance, and then we had a beautiful 30-year marriage. It was the most beautiful relationship anybody could ever wish for.
Mhm.
Brett was one of the greatest husbands of all time. And we had 4 children. We actually had 5 children, but we lost one. He was my first set of babies were twins, and they just didn't make it. They were 16 weeks early.
Mhm.
So back way then, it was very hard to survive that. But one survived. The boy survived, and the girl didn't. And so we had beautiful children. And then we moved down south. We moved down to Collie. We went down to Collie for a weekend to see my dad. And then next thing, my dad's boss offers my husband a job, and he said, "Do you want to stay here, Red?" He used to call me Red. I go, "Yeah, I don't care. Stay anywhere." So Dad said, "Yeah, you can stay with me until you can find a house." I said, "Cool." So we stayed. So the weekend, I was 38 years ago, and I'm still in Collie. That's a long weekend. So
That's
then
a
I
heck of
said
a
to
long
Spirit,
weekend. Yeah.
I said, pardon?
I said, yeah, that's a heck of a long weekend.
Yeah, yeah. So I said to my husband, see, when I actually moved in with my husband, there was 3 things I said to him. I said, "You got to understand, I'm psychic, and there's no way I'm going to get rid of that ever. You better get used to it, because that's the way that I am. I have a gay brother, and you got to treat him with respect. Whether you like gay or not, I don't care, but you treat my brother with respect. I love him.
Right.
And I do what I want, when I want, and how I want. You will never own me." And he looked at me. Brett was 6'3", and I'm only 5 foot. And he looked down at me, and he says, "Listen to me. That's what I love about you." Excuse my expression. He said, "You got balls."
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I mean, I understand that. Being a psychic, I don't know what it is. I hope it doesn't hurt. And as long as it doesn't hurt, yeah, I'll tolerate it. Your brother being gay, well, as long as he doesn't make a pass at me, we'll get along fine. I've got no worries with that. And you doing what you want, well, I can see that. There's no way. You can't tame an old lion. So that was it. That was the only rulings I had when I moved in with him. So, but he always used to say to me, he said, look, once he understood, he actually did a lot of research and he got books to understand what a psychic was.
Okay.
And he was quite psychic himself. So he really became aware of himself in a lot of ways as we grew older, right?
Yeah.
I like that, Mike. Yeah. So anyway, so we went to Collie and he said, honey, I know you love your psychic stuff, but please, can we just have just a normal life in this town for the kids, please? And you can do it, but do it at the house. Don't do it outside. Don't walk up to people at coffee shop and say, hey, da 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 da. So that's when I actually asked Spirit, and I said, Spirit, please, don't have me open all the time. We'll make a deal. Whenever I light a candle, that's when I'm yours. But I want you to let me live a normal life, because in this country, it's not like in the homeland. I can't do it all the time. And I got no friends. And I had no friends. I had no friends whatsoever, you know. So I went at that, and they were good. They would just shut me off. And then I kept my word. Every Monday night I would light a candle, and I would sit down and spend a few hours with them. And then once the candle went off, the house was shut.
Okay.
And I was with my dad, and I said to my dad, Dad, last night when I sat down with the Spirit, they showed me the house where we're going to move into. And he says, do you know where it is? I said, no, I'm not sure, Dad, but I'm going to put the baby in the pram and I'm just going to go for a walk, okay? If I get lost, don't worry. I will ask someone to tell me where Clifton Street is. And he goes, okay, no worries. I'll see you tonight. So I went off for a walk on the pram. And I walked and walked. Collie's a beautiful hilly place. It's gorgeous. It's a really, really nice place. And I got to this house, and this house was 24 Telfer Crescent. And there was a guy at the front. He was fixing it up. And Spirit said to me, go and tell him his wife is pregnant. I said, I can't do that. I promised Brett I would not do that. Go and tell him. Go on, tell him. And he gets at me. Anyway, and I tripped over on his front lawn. I don't even know how I tripped over. Until this day, I haven't got a clue how I tripped over, but I tripped over. And this guy ran out because he saw that I had the pram and that. And he said, are you okay? I go, yeah, I'm fine. I go, oh, your wife is pregnant. I said, oh, why did I say that? I promised I wouldn't say it. So this guy got really angry. He got really angry. He goes, how dare you, my wife is barren. She can't have children. This is not a joke. If someone sends you to just make fun of me, that's just not acceptable. I said, no, I'm sorry. I'm psychic, and I know she's pregnant. And then his wife came out, and I looked at her, and I said, oh, my gosh, she's carrying twins. And this guy says, who are you? And he goes, my name is Selva. And I just new to Collie, and I just went out looking for a house. That's all it says, and it brought me here. And Spirit told me to tell you that. So I guess this is my house. And he said, okay, I tell you what. If you're so psychic, he made it really funny. He did it better than me. Anyway, I said, yeah. If my wife is pregnant, you can have this house for what my parents owed on it. I go, you for real? And he go, yeah, let's shake on it. Because in Australia, the shake hand is sacred.
Yeah.
If you ever shake hands with an Aussie, that's sound. If they say, let's shake on it, they mean business.
Okay.
I go, yes, sure, I'll shake on it. So I shook my hand. It was like a contract. And he says, where do you live? I said, I live in Clifton Street. And he said, look, I'll give you a lift home so then I know exactly where you live. So put the pram in his car and he took me home to my dad's house. And he dropped me off. And it was about 4 weeks later, there was a knock at the door. And it was this late in the evening. And my husband answered the door. And he said, oh, hello, how are you? I said, oh, hi, my name is Jerry, and I need to talk to Selva. Tell her prediction was good. And my husband went, Selva, you promised. I said, oh, it just happened. I couldn't help it. I said, don't be angry at me. He said, there's just no hope for you. What happened now? And the guy said, hey, it was the best thing that ever happened. And my husband looked at me, what? You're not angry at her? He goes, oh, no, mate. My wife is pregnant, and I want to thank her. And I made a deal with her that if she was pregnant, you guys can have our house, my parents' house, was their parents' house, for what they owed on it. My husband looked at me and said, you for real? He said, yeah, look, come and have a look at the house. The minute we walked into the house, we knew it was our house. We just knew.
Okay.
It was home. And we said, okay, how much do they owe on it, We thought, oh, God, if we can have enough money. And he said they owe $19,000. You can have it for $19,000. And if you don't have the money, it's okay. We will go to the bank and we'll arrange an account and you can pay it off into this account until it's paid off. My husband could not believe it. He just go, what? And I go, oh, thank you. So we did. We went to the bank, we arranged the thing, and we made the special thing. And the house was not going to be signed over to us until we paid half of it. And it was in both, So we did. And then I said to my husband, oh, we've got to go to South Australia. And he goes, South Australia? I said, yeah, book some time off. I've got to go and see Henry. Henry is my brother. And he was in the Air Force, and he was based in South Australia, Edinburgh at the time. So, but he lived in Salisbury. I know it means nothing to you, but I need to mention places.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like name dropping. No, anyway. So we did, and I said, on the way through, we're going to stop at Cockabiddy because I want Mrs. M to meet our baby.
Ooh.
And he goes, who's Mrs. M? I said, oh, Mrs. M, that's a lady that I told you about that I worked at the Roadhouse. You know, she's a beautiful lady. And he goes, yeah, whatever. So we've got to stop at Cockabiddy anyway to fuel up. So I said, so we stopped at Cockabiddy, and Mrs. M was waiting for me. And she goes, oh, Selva, how are you? So it was so good. So, oh, my God, what a baby. That I was pregnant again, of course. And she goes, oh, how are you? What's been happening? And he was talking. And she said, oh, I've got something for you. What do you have, Mrs. M? She said, I've got your check, your wages. I go, my what? My wages. What's that? She said, oh, when you work in Australia, you get paid. But you gave me home. I said, you gave me food. You gave me home. You dressed me. You looked after me for 2 years. You paid me. You go, oh, no, that's part of the job. We have to do that when you work on the outback. Anyway, she gave me a check. How much was the check for, do you think?
The price of the
Just
house?
on top of your head. Of course. And she said, you can pay the house off now. And he go, yes, I did. I bought a house. I said, well, there you go. So I never said anything to my husband.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'll surprise him. I said, okay, thank you. I said, I won't say anything to Brett, so please don't say anything. I'll just pay the house and surprise him. And he goes, oh, that's a beautiful idea. So anyway, we ended up staying in Cockabiddy for 3 days. And it was great. You know, it was awesome. We played darts, we played pool, we meditated, we did all sorts of things. I just loved it. It was just like being with a grandmother again, you know. It was so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So then we drove to South Australia, a beautiful state. South Australia is known as a state of churches because there's Adelaide, especially the capital city. There's a church in every corner. I kid you not. So they call it the city of churches. So it's a beautiful place. And then we went out to the outskirts of South Australia, which is Salisbury, and we stayed there with my brother. And then I confided in my brother, and I said to Henry, I need to find a bank, this bank, and I need to put this check in. She goes, where'd you get that money from? I said, that's my wages from Cockabiddy. Can you believe that? And he goes, really? Mrs. M kept it for you? I go, yeah, she did. Yeah, it was, I can't believe it. He said, okay, then. So we took him out and went and deposited that check.
Mm-hmm.
And I said nothing to my husband. We carried on the holiday. And we're getting short of money, and Brett said, so I'm going to have to spend some of the mortgage money to get home. So remind me, when we get home, we've got to go to the bank and tell them that we're going to be a little bit late with the payment this month. I said, look, I don't think they're going to worry at all. He said, oh, no, honey, you don't know what they're like. Banks are terrible. I said, believe me, I don't think they'll worry about it. I said, okay, I'll trust you. He said to me, I'll trust you. But he got in there and realized there was nothing psychic about it. She said, I paid it, you know.
Yeah.
So he went on about it. He was okay. And then came home 2 days later. He goes to the bank and said, we better go to the bank. So I said, I want to come with you. He said, you don't like going to the bank. I said, no, I want to come with you. I want to see what it's like, how they deal with it, you know. I want to learn. And he goes, yeah, okay, come on. So I spoke to the manager, and the manager said, oh, Brett, well done. So what? You've paid the house off in 2 months. I mean, that's amazing. Because I paid the house off. How did I do that? He said, well, there was a deposit made in South Australia branch this date, and there's a signature. And then he said, that's Selva's signature. Selva? I go, oh, well, it was like that. Then I told him, he goes, oh, why didn't you tell me? I said, because I wanted to surprise you. He says, God, I could have spent more money on my holiday. What are you doing? Anyway, that's okay. So, yeah. So that was really good. It was really good. And then he was more relaxed with my psychic thing. He was more relaxed. He'd go more relaxed, more relaxed, more relaxed. Time went by. Of course, we had 4 children because we bred like rabbits. Every time he looked at me, I was pregnant. And that was 1985 by then. And we had a major car accident. It was horrible. And I used to do all this work, and I never used to charge at all, for free, completely, right? Because I love it. Yeah. I do love it. And Spirit kept on saying to me, you need to exchange something. You need to exchange money or something. I said, no, why? Brett is a plumber, and plumbers are very well paid in Australia. I don't need the money. I'm fine. I got food. I got a roof. I got a house. We don't need the money. Thank you. No, I'm not going to charge. He said, well, if you don't charge, so are we going to create a situation that you'll have to charge? I thought nothing of it. And now, you got to understand, I argue with the Spirit just like if I would argue with you if you and me disagreed on something. I treat the Spirit exactly the same way. Exactly the same way. I argue with them. We have this full-on conversation. We have this war times. Because I will not bow down. And he said, and they kept on warning me. And then one day, my husband lost his job as a plumber where he was working. And I said, oh, my God. Oh, so what? You made him lose his job. He'll get another one. He's a good plumber. I don't care. I was being a bit cocky. And he got a job in another town named Kalgoorlie, which is 700 kilometers from Collie. All right?
Okay.
No, actually 900. Yeah. So he went away to work, and I would go up every second weekend. I would chuck all the kids in the car and do the drive for the weekend so I could get to see him and spend time with him. He could see the kids and stuff like that. And then one weekend, he rings me up before I pack up the car and said, don't come up, Selva, because I'm coming home. We've got to pack up. We're moving on Monday, on the 4th of November. And I go, we're moving on Monday. And then I got this voice from Spirit say, I warned you. If you don't start charging, we will do something to make you charge. And I thought nothing of it. Mm-hmm. And then anyway, we packed up the house. The removalists came in. We did everything. And I got in the car. And then they said, you're still not doing it. So we tell you what we're doing. You will have a car accident in Southern Cross. You will have a car accident. 27 kilometers on the other side of Southern Cross, you will have a car accident. And then you'll have to charge because your husband will not be able to work. And I go, no, you will not do that because I've got children in the car. You will not risk the safety of innocent lives. And I said, no, God gave me this gift to share it with others. And that's all there is to it, And I went off anyway. And I thought I could outsmart them. All right? I know. I'm silly like that. I said, okay, you want me to have an accident on the 4th of November at 27 kilometers north of Southern Cross. I said, fine. I will not be there. I'm going to be there on the 5th. So we got to Southern Cross at midnight, and I said to my husband, we're going to have a sleep now, hon, and we're going to drive after midnight when it's the 5th. And he goes, why? Just because they told me I was going to have an accident because I'm not charging for the work that I do. And my husband said, well, you know best. You're the one that talks with the widows, so, yeah, you know best. So anyway, so we did. So we went to sleep. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up because we were sleeping in the car. And I said to my husband, okay, I'll drive. We drove. Morning, Rachel. Anyway, we drove. And we were driving in exactly 27 kilometers north of Southern Cross. My 2 front tires exploded.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. It was horrific. It was terrible. My poor baby. Uh, he was only 5 at the time. Troy, the baby was 4 months old, and everyone got hurt. And my poor husband, they put us all together in a pile, and he stopped the one and only truckie in Australia that didn't have a two-way. Not only he didn't have a two-way, he couldn't even think of what to do in an accident. It was the dumbest truckie in the world. So my husband said, "Put your warning lights on, mate. Just turn your lights on. Just make your truck a Christmas tree." Anyway, so he did. He put the light on, and there's another car pulled up, and he had some blankets and water, so he helped my husband. He covered us all up. I was unconscious during all this, so, actually, I was unconscious, but I was floating around. Anyway, and I was watching what was happening, and I go, "Oh, my God, you did it. I can't believe you did it. How could you do that?" Anyway, so the car that pulled over and gave the blanket, it said, "Look, Southern Cross only 27 Ks. I will drive straight into the hospital and arrange for an ambulance to come and pick you up, okay?" Because, there was no mobile phones those days, eh?
Yeah.
There was nothing, 1985, yeah. So back in the day, Anyway, so they drove into the town and went to the hospital, and then an ambulance came out and picked us up. And, of course, I was covered because they thought I was, not there.
Mm-hmm.
So we weren't there. And, of course, my young boy, my 5-year-old, my oldest boy, of course, he thought, his mama was dead, and he went into shock a little bit. So all the kids got into hospital. My daughter, the top of her head got pulled back, and all her things had to be all sewed back. My second eldest boy, he lost his ears. He had to sew them back on. That was kind of cute. Now it's funny at the time, because my husband was hurt really, really, really badly, and my eldest boy dislocated both hips. So, and the dog, my poor beautiful Sam, got hurt, but he would not leave the car site, so they couldn't do much with him. They just left him there. And they picked him up later, and they took me away. Now they took me down to Perth, to Royal Perth Hospital, because they thought, no, she's not there. I remember them saying, "No, she's not there. She's just unconscious. Like, let's fly her to Perth ASAP." So they flew the family to Kalgoorlie on a plane, and they flew me to Perth. Flying doctors are a fantastic service in Australia. I don't know if you guys have the pleasure of having flying doctors where you are, but in Australia we have this service called flying doctors, and they're just amazing. They're just amazing. I can't praise them enough. That's the only charity I actually do a lot of fundraising for. I have a lot of fundraising nights to raise money for them because I love flying doctors. Anyway, and they took me to Perth, and I was just floating around, and of course then they said, "No, it's too late. She's gone." And so then I was just up there, and I went into this room, this bright room, like it was white, like so bright. I mean, I couldn't see nothing, just white. And there was this voice, and this voice kept on telling me lots of stuff. And so you're going back. I said, "Yeah, you bet I am. I got children. I got, I can't do this." Because in the meantime, my poor husband in Kalgoorlie was told that I passed away, and he got all these sympathy cards, and he was just devastated, poor guy,
Yeah.
Anyway, and then I don't know what the time was, how long it was, because you can't tell time up there.
Yeah.
It just happens. So it could be 2 days, it could be a week. I don't know. I really don't know. And I was in the morgue. How they pull you out. I mean, you don't know because you haven't been there. But they
But
pull
I've
you out,
seen
and
it,
they're going to do an autopsy because they wanted to see if the accident was my fault. Maybe I was drunk or something, you know.
Okay.
And of course, I woke up, and this poor guy,
Scared the
he ran
bejeebers out of the poor guy.
You know, like woof. He just took off. Then he came back with a doctor, and then he came back with a psychologist as well. So they took me back to the room, and then they called my mum and my dad in, and they came to visit me. And I said, oh my God, I didn't know you had an accident. Da, 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 da. Anyway, so they were there, and the poor psychologist, his name was Dr. Phillips. Remember this name, Dr. Phillips. I started talking to him, and I started telling him stuff, and I said, and he said, oh my God, how do you know all this? I just know. I just know it. Anyway, so I was there for 3 months. My jaw was broken in 3 places. So I had to have it wired. So I couldn't eat or chew anything. It was like, it never hurt. It's just wired, you know. And my husband was such a darling that he would eat steak in front of me, and I love meat. He would eat steak in front of me and tell me how nice it was, how delicious it was.
Nice.
You know, he's so sweet. You know, he would tease me so much.
Yeah.
But the biggest shock was when I went back. You know, I went to the hospital where my son was. You know, my eldest boy, because he was in traction because of his dislocated both hips. And of course, when he saw me, he said, "Oh, Mom, you know, I thought you were dead." And like, it was like, anyway, it was so good to be reunited with the children.
Yeah.
And his spirit said, "Are you going to charge now?" And I said, "I told you, no. Brett can work. We can, you know." And he goes, "Oh, Selva." Anyway, so we went into Kalgoorlie. Now, I did not know a soul in Kalgoorlie. I've only just got out of hospital, got into this house, and right? There's a knock at the door. And it's a guy, an Italian guy, and he said, "Are you Selva?" I go, "Yeah, I am. I need you to help me, please." I said, Sure, yeah." So he came in, and I said to Brett, "Brett, I got to talk to this guy. He needs help." And Brett looked at me and he go, "Yeah, whatever." You know, he was annoyed. I think he wouldn't dare tell me not to do it. Anyway, so I went to
he
this
got the rules
room
in the
and
beginning.
I talked. Yeah. So I talked to this guy. I did what I had to do, and I was leaving. He said, "Oh, here," and he gave me an envelope. I go, No, thank you." And he looked at me and says, "Take it." I go, "You okay?" You know, I take it anyway, and I let him at the door, and then I noticed he left his cap. So I opened the door again. He was gone, nowhere to be seen.
Okay.
Nowhere. I went down the street. I looked everywhere. And I even asked my next door neighbour because he was sitting outside drinking. I said, "Did you see a guy walk past?" He goes, "Nah." Okay. I said, So that Mr. Mario wasn't a Mr. Mario, eh? So anyway, my husband found the envelope, and there was $1,000 in there. And he said, "Look, I don't know how you got this money." He said, "But I don't want to know. This is going to pay our rent. This is going to put food on the table. We're going to be fine." Anyway, so he did that. And then that was it. And there was no more people came for a while, you know, and things got tough and tough and tough. And my husband could not work because he really damaged himself. So he had to go, he had to apply for an invalid pension. But he couldn't get an invalid pension because he wasn't unemployed. He couldn't get compensation. Yeah. He couldn't get compensation because the accident happened on the way to work, not at work, right? So there was no Social Security benefit that would help us.
Yeah.
I got really friendly with the original family. And thank God she had 10 children. She used to go and get food vouchers for her
Okay.
and then give us some, and that's how we ate.
No.
And we had nothing. My mum would come up for a visit from the city. She would get on the train and would bring food and stuff up and to make sure that we had stuff. Our house in Collie was being rented, and the people that rented it, they decided to use the house as a punching bag. And they got cold in winter, so they burned down the fences, all the picket fence. So the house is getting trashed, so we weren't collecting rent. And the real estate let them stay there. So somehow, I really don't know how it happened, we managed to find a way to move back to Collie. And when we got to Collie, my brother Ralph warned me that the house was not in a good state. He said, "Selva, the house is. We'll do what we can before you get here, Pat. Just be warned." I go, "Look, I don't care. It'd be nice to get back to Collie. I don't care what state the house is in." And of course, I got home and my brother was fixing holes and doing things. And I said, "Hey, to me, the house looked beautiful."
Yeah.
I didn't care. So we went in there. We were in the house for about 2 days. My husband's mum stayed with us for a little bit. And Brett couldn't walk or anything. He was in a bad way. And my girlfriend, Karina, rings me up and she says, "Come to Port Hedland and do readings." And I go, "I can't, Karina. I can't afford to go down the street, never alone get on a plane and go to Port Hedland." She goes, "Well, you better come because there's a lot of appointments." I said, "Okay." And everybody's giving me an envelope. I said, "Okay." So I said to my husband, I said, "Okay, Brett, I'm going to swallow my pride and accept money for what I do."
Okay.
And of course, that hurt my husband's pride. And he goes, "I'm the man of the house. I'm the one that provides for the family. No, 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 no."
Yeah.
And his mother looked at me and said, "Selva, go. I will stay with the kids here. Don't worry, just go." I thought I will only be away for about a week.
Mhm.
Now, by the time all this happened, somehow we had to remortgage the house to try and survive. And I mean 12 months went by, right? So lots of things happened in between. And we're $33,000 in the red, and we were going to lose the house then. And I said, "Oh, no." So anyway, so I went. I ate humble pie and I went and I worked. Now, I was working from 7 a.m. in the morning, and my last appointment was 11 o'clock at night.
Whoa.
I was working back to back, back to back, back to back. I felt like a gorilla in a cage that will put the food under the door and just, Anyway, and I was staying at the South Auckland Motel in room 26, which was good because it's an 8, And I was there, and I ended up being there for 6 weeks.
Wow.
I would ring every day, and my husband would not talk to me. Now, me and my husband were very loving, very caring, we're very connected. He was very affectionate, and I love that. I love that lovey, touchy feeling. And he was, would every day would kiss good morning, kiss good night, kiss hello, kiss I love you, hug. He was very, very affectionate. And for him not to talk to me, it was just killing me. And I was there for 6 weeks. 6 weeks I did that for. And then on the last day I called, said, "Don't hang up, I'm coming home tomorrow. I'll be on the 12 o'clock plane." And he went, and he hanged up. He still didn't talk to me. And I thought, "Oh my God, I've ruined. I'm an idiot." I thought, I'm an idiot. I've lost my marriage. I've ruined everything just for me being stubborn. "Why don't I listen to you?" And Spirit laughed at me. I said, "No, don't laugh now. I don't think it's a joke, He said, "Well, we think it is." So anyway, So I flew down. Of course, I was packing it. I was on the plane. I was so nervous. I said, God, is he going to be at the airport? Is he going to greet me? How's he going to be? I was trying to think of this, and for the first time ever, I didn't have an ounce of psychic in me. I could not see anything. You know how lovely that is? Oh, God, it was horrible. Horrible. Yeah. So we went down, got the plane, and my husband shook my hand. Just like you shake with a bank manager. He go, oh, how nice to see you. I go, oh, my God. And I said, it's okay. I'm a big girl now. It's time to put my big girl pants on. So he grabbed my bag. We went to the car. And we're sitting there. Nothing was said. And now to go to my place from the airport, you've got to turn left. He didn't go left. He kept going. So I said, oh, okay. It's a chance for me to talk, break the ice. I said, where are we going? And he said, well, you know how we were $33,000 in the red? And he go, yeah, don't tell me I didn't do enough. I'm sorry. He said, oh, no. Actually earn $35,000 in 6 weeks.
Whoa.
I went, what? I said, you for real? And he goes, yeah. So I said to Spirit, do we blow it, the 2,000, or do we save it? He said, and I'm sure they said blow it, celebrate you getting back together again. I said, where are we going? I said, now that weekend that I came back, the casino opening in Perth, the very first casino, hotel and everything. I said, we're going to go to the Burswood Casino. I go, what? I don't gamble. And he said, it doesn't matter, but I do. So you're going to enter into my world for a change. So we did. So, and I got to the casino, and my kids were there with his mum, all nicely dressed and beautiful, like, it was so nice. I cried. I hugged them, and we checked into this hotel. And if anybody tells you that a 6-year-old doesn't know how to use room service, they're lying to you.
Yeah.
Man.
They can pick up a phone. They can sure as heck use room service.
Yeah. So anyway, we checked in. We checked in with $2,000, right? And we had so much fun. We drank, we danced, we gambled a little. The kids went into time zone. We did we had so much fun. It was just incredible. We just blew it, and we left with $2,000. So that's pretty good. We were there for 3 days, and we didn't spend a cent. Literally, So we came home with $2,000, and then my husband said to him, of course, there was a lot of romance as well, so it was all good. It was all back in order. It was pretty cool. Anyway, and we got home, and he fixed the house a fair bit. Him and his friends, he had a lot of friends that helped him out. We were so grateful. Anyway, and so we did that. And he said, okay, this is the way it's going to be. Look, first, I'm sorry for letting the man ego get in the way of our love. I couldn't live with anybody else, but you are my world. You drive me crazy, but you're my world. And I go, yeah, you're my world too. I mean, being without you, it's been a nightmare. Anyway, so so this way it's going to be. I'm going to organize your appointments because I can't work. I'm screwed. I'll never be able to work again.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to charge for this. And because we're not going in no Social Security benefit, which is not that. And I said, but you are in an invalid pension, aren't you? I go, yeah, I am, but it's not enough to survive. I said, okay, I promise I will. So then I said, Spirit, please, I need you to tell me what to charge. I mean, I don't know what to charge. And Brett said, oh, that's easy. What to charge is easy. You obviously got to charge $50. I go, $50? That's a lot of money. He said, but
Yeah.
every envelope, that's what it had. So that's the way I think they're telling you, hey, that's your fee. So I did. So I charged $50 for readings, and I said, I'll charge $50 as long as I can do healings and the meditation groups and the teaching by donation. And he goes, oh, that sounds good. He said, you're going to teach? Do you think people want to learn this shit? And he goes, yeah. Anyway, and it's just like, I mean, you got to understand, this is 1985, 1986 by then. And he goes, yeah, okay, whatever you reckon, I'm not going to argue with you. Anyway, he said, good. Anyway, so we went on, and that went on, and it was beautiful. And even though he was very supportive on the business side of that, he would not dabble in it at all.
Right.
And then the spirit has started at me saying, take him to Brazil. Take him to Brazil. Take him to see John of God. Take him to see John of God. I said, we can't afford to go to John of God. It's an airfare, and I can't afford it. They've got no money. Anyway, it took 15 years, and I was doing a radio show in Port Hedland at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was Port Hedland. Anyway, I was doing a radio show somewhere. And then I got offered this permanent spot in another radio near where I lived. And I said, oh, cool, that'd be good. So I said to Nigel, look, I'll still come up here every now and then, but I'm going to concentrate on the local radio because then I'm home for the kids. They go to school and stuff. And so, oh, that's a cool Selva. That's good. So I started doing a show with a guy named Cliff Riv. He's an amazing guy, really nice guy. I've been associated with him since 1995.
Wow.
So we were doing the show for a little while. And then on 1999, there's a message. I get to the show, and Cliff says, Selva, after the show, can you go around the travel agent and see Tony Papara, please? He needs to get in touch with you. He said he really needs to talk to you. I said, oh, I hope his mum's okay, because I've seen Tony before for his mum.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, oh, I hope she's okay. So anyway, so I went down the travel agent and said, hi, Tony. Cliff tells me you needed to talk to me. And he goes, yes, Selva. I don't know how you're going to react to this, but I've got a bunch of people that want to go to Brazil to see John of God. And I need to find an escort for them. Are you interested in the job? I go, are you for real? And he goes, yeah. I said, I'll do it on one condition. He said, what? That you pay for my husband to come as well. I said, sure, consider it done. You speak Spanish, you understand Portuguese, you're the best person for the job, and you're into this weird stuff, so who else would I send to John of God? I can't send one of my office girls that wouldn't know what to do there. So it was awesome. Now, at that time, my dad was going to see John of God. So, and my dad came back in between, and when my dad came back, I said, Dad, you never guess what happened. He said, oh, no, you're going to Brazil. You're going to the castle to see John of God. I said, how do you know? He said, I just came back from there, and Joe told me that you're bringing a group over, and he's happy that you're bringing a group. I go, wow. Anyway, so we did, right? So I went home and said to my husband, I said, you're going to Brazil, and you're going to get healed. And everything's going to be all right again, and I can go back to my normal world, and I can. So my husband said, yeah, Brazil, they're going to heal me. They're going to fix my back up. Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're going to allow me to walk all the time and be able to do everything. Yeah, sure, honey, yeah. I said, yeah, well, I've got a group of people to take. We took 22 people on our first group.
Wow.
And there was one guy who was really funny. His name was Enrico. And he rings me up and he said, Selva, what are you in your group to Brazil? I said, yeah. He said, but I might be dead in 4 weeks. I said, well, if you got encouragement from a spirit to call me and book, you're obviously going to be here for the trip. He said, yeah, the doctors reckon I'll be dead, but I don't think I will. I think I need to go to Brazil. I said, okay, as long as you know you won't be able to get insured because of your illness and everything. Ah, it's okay, I don't care. Anyway, so he paid for his ticket. This was in December, right? So it's
Mhm.
4 months till we went in April. So anyway, so Enrico came, and when we got to Brazil, there's a number of things you got to do. I won't go into because it takes too long.
Okay.
Um, there's a number of things, but you get chosen to either operation or current or things like that. So Joao picked my husband, Enrico, another lady named Eileen, another lady named Marie the Han, and there was one other person which I can't remember, to go straight to operation, right? So, and the operation, you get a choice to have a visual operation where they actually do something physically, or an invisible operation, right? Now, my group, they all chose invisible. They didn't want any scissors going up their noses or anything like that. You know?
Okay, yeah.
So I don't know if you know much about John of God, but
No,
the
but
physical
I've
operations,
googled him, so I'm going to check it out.
yeah, it's pretty gruesome, some of the stuff. Anyway,
Right.
so they all chose invisible. So they went and sat in this meditation room, and 5 minutes later, John of God said, "You're all healed. You can leave now." Now, Enrico, he couldn't even drink water. He everything was done through a tube in the stomach, everything.
Okay. Yeah.
And he looked at me because I waited on the other side for them naturally, so I can escort them back to the Posada. The Posada is like a B&B, so I took him back to the Posada, and he says to me, "Selva, I'm really thirsty." I said, "Well, where's your bottle?" And I paused. I said, "No, I'm thirsty in the mouth. I want to drink through the mouth." And I said, "Oh, look, I don't know, Enrico. You know what happens when you do that?" He said, "I know. That's why I can't understand how I'm saying." Anyway, so he had a glass of water. And he said, "Oh, my God, it doesn't hurt at all." Anyway, he said, "I'm going to bed." I said, "Yeah, you're supposed to go to your room for 24 hours after an operation, and you're not to leave the room at all. I will bring your meals to you. In your case, Enrico, I won't bring anything to you for 24 hours." And he goes, "Okay, no worries." So I did that. So I nursed him for 24 hours, my group. I did what I had to do. And then when the 24 hours were up, I could hear someone skipping down the hallway.
Oh, good Lord.
And I said, "Hi, Enrico. You're happy?" He said, "I'm happy. Happy as a pig in a pen." I go, "Why?" He said, "I had breakfast today and I ate it through my mouth and it never hurt." I go, "Oh my God." I go, "Yep, I'm eating, I'm walking, and I can even poop and it doesn't hurt." And he goes, "Wow, that's amazing." So he was so happy. He was so happy, like he was great, and then he went to revision, like a week later he got through revision, and then the entity said to him, Joel said to him in entities, "Look, you're not healed, my friend. You're not healed. You are on a standstill. You're not going to get any worse, so all your wishes can be granted. But then you will pass because your illness, and there's too many missing parts on your body already. You've had too many operations, too many things are removed, so we are not able to heal you completely." And he goes, "Oh." He said, "But you will live the life in a reasonable condition until it's time to pass." And he was okay with that.
Yeah.
My husband, he didn't. He felt okay, but he wasn't 100% as ecstatic as what Enrico was. But he could walk really good in that. So he went down to the casa for a walk. And I said to Maria, the girl of the pastor, I said, "I better go with him because he can't speak Portuguese. And if he gets in trouble," and she goes, "Selva, leave him alone. Let him go. Let him go. He's going to be fine." Now, one of the biggest things my husband had is that he could not get over his father's death. He had a huge situation with that, and his father died, and he wasn't with him, and it used to hurt him a lot. Anyways, he went down and he sat at the Dr. Nasser chair, and next thing, his father materialized himself. Like he was there,
Wow.
right there, next to him, and gave him a hug, and he spoke, and he said, "You chose a very good wife," and stuff like that. And he did that, and he was just he was there for an age. Then he came back a few hours later, and I said, "Oh, Brett, I was getting worried about you. What happened?" And he said, "Oh, I don't know if you believe me if I tell you." I said, "Oh man, I can believe anything." He said, "Well, Dad came and he materialized himself, and he approves of you. He is really good. I'm okay. I can't believe how good I feel, but I'm gonna die in 10 years. I've got 10 years left of life." I go, "Okay. How do you feel about that?" He said, "It's weird. I feel good about it. It doesn't faze me." But those 10 years, he became very spiritual, and he became very aware of his completeness after that trip. And then he was doing the workshops with me. He was everything. He did every tour that I did to Brazil. He came with me. He helped me in every tour that I did. He really took care of everything. And of course, then I nursed him until he died, and he passed over, and life began again. So now I'm married to his best friend, which was interesting, another long story, which I won't go into. But anyway, we're meant to be together. And Brad, my new husband's name is Brad, and he doesn't understand what I do. He gets really confused, and so he's just started looking at all these videos and everything and all this stuff,
Mhm.
and to try and understand it, but to grasp some understanding of it. So that was that, and that was it. And then I just continue doing workshops and teaching as much as I can, and I do private sessions, and I just go wherever I'm invited, and yeah, and that's me, and that's me until today. And today, well, the rest is history. You can Google me, and yeah, it's just I just live and do what I do. Yeah.
You are. Hold on 2 seconds. I'm going to put your links into the chat room. I think I got them all. Blah blah blah. Hold on a second. There we go. Okay, links are in the chat room. You have a website at WordPress. It's Selva, SelvaSality.wordpress.com. And you
Yeah.
can also
Yeah.
find
Self
Selva
as
on
well.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I yeah, that there's not really a web page as such, because I'm not very good at things like that. I'm not really
Uh-huh.
computer thing. It's just like a blog page. And every now and then when I get the urge, I put stuff
Mhm.
on it. I just write stuff on it whenever I get the urge, and it's not every day or every week or anything like that. I just
Nice.
get
When
the
it
urge and I
happens, it
write stuff
happens.
on it. Yeah, yeah, it just happens. I haven't got very good discipline to maintain a web page, I'm afraid. So, but whenever I get the urge, I just
Mhm.
I just write on it, and I just write and write and write. The Facebook page, I'm always on the Facebook page, and there's I got my own personal page, and there's another page called Selva's Faith, Hope and Achievement, which that's the business name that I go under, Selva's Faith, Hope and Achievement, for obvious reasons,
Mhm.
because I have faith and I have hope, and I'm trying to achieve. So Selva's Faith, Hope and Achievement, and there's another page called Selva's Ality, and then there's a lot of and there's another page called Radioality, which is mine as well, and I put a lot of my links to radio shows and stuff like that on Radioality, which is kind of cool. Yeah, so I try and share myself around a little bit, and it's kind of funny. But apart from that, I'm not all about completely spiritual. I do play darts. I
Yes.
love darts. I'm passionate about darts. I do enjoy a beer. I do enjoy a glass of red, and I have fun. I remember the very first time I went to the pub in Collie, a lady came up to me and she said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "What are you doing here?" She goes, "I'm having a beer and a few drinks with my girlfriends and playing darts." I said, "I'm doing the same thing." She goes, "Yeah, but you're Selvanix." I used to be Selva Nixon those days. I go, yeah,
Okay.
I know who I am, but I do have a life besides what I do, you know? He said, but
Yeah.
you can't. What are people going to think? I said, well, do they pay my bills? She goes, oh, okay. She goes, well, can you be in my team? I said, I don't know. Wherever they put me, that's where I go. Anyway, I ended up. We're very good friends, and I ended up on her team, and I don't play with her anymore now because she's retired. And I still have a normal life. I go 10-pin bowling, and I'm not bad at that. I'm not the best, but I had a bit of fun. I love walking. I love bush. I just love the bush. I just like going between the trees. I love fishing and camping, and I love practical jokes, and I can take them as much as I give them.
Uh-oh.
And I like to look for the silver lining on everything. It doesn't matter how bad things are. There's always a
There's
silver
always
lining
something good.
somewhere along the side.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree with that. So yeah, I love it how people kind of assume that because you're a medium and you're a psychic and you're spiritual, you don't you don't have a normal life. You don't, hello,
Yeah.
we all go to the bathroom, we all pee and poo, or whatever you want to call it. We have lives other than just, our spirituality is part of who you are, but it's not everything about you. And
Yeah.
that's what I like
Exactly.
that people get to learn that.
Mm.
Mike's not
And
commenting
it's
again.
challenging.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now it's really funny. Me and my first husband, we like I said, we were very very passionate in that. And if we wanted to make love, we made love. It didn't matter what time of the day it was.
Mhm.
We didn't care. And I remember once the bank manager was going to come to the house, and we forgot about it. And I said to my eldest boy, I said, Troy, Mummy and Daddy are just going to have a talk in the bedroom, okay? So here's your Milo, and here's some biscuits, and we'll see you in a little while. We thought nothing of it. I mean, Troy was
Uh-huh.
about 6 at the time, 6
Okay.
or 7, something like that. Anyway, so we went. We had our fun, as you do, as couples do.
Yes.
But in the meantime, the bank manager arrived, and Troy said to the bank manager, "Hi, Mr. Armstrong. Mummy and Daddy are having sex, so I'll make you a cup of coffee while you wait for them, okay?" So he made him a coffee, and then so I walk out of my room wrapped in a towel, right? And I see Armstrong. So I said, "Oh, hi," and I just reversed. I said to my husband, "Brett, he had an appointment today." And he just laughed. He just laughed. He said, "Oh my God!" So Troy would have taken care of him, and he did. So he came in,
Mhm.
and the backman said, "Oh, was it good?" I go, "Oh, it's fantastic, fantastic. We can talk about anything now. My mind's cleared. I'm all relaxed. It's all good." Yeah, it's so good. It was so funny. And we would do things like that. Like it didn't care, and we don't care. We weren't. Yeah, that's just it. Yeah,
You're
we just
you're
were the way we were.
yeah, and you're human, and humans we have needs for whatever we need.
Yeah, it was so
We have
funny.
needs,
Yeah, yeah,
making love with your spouse, going to the bathroom, eating. Because I had a friend one
yeah,
time ask me, oops, Mike shocked. I said, "Oh my God, does spirit see us at all times?" I went, "Well, I would
yep,
say that you can close the door and say, 'Excuse me, spirit,' but if you're gonna look, don't let me hear you." That kind of thing. You
yeah,
know what? Like they're gonna be there. It's not like they have blinders, or they probably do, but it's like they're gonna be like, they're not gonna give you pointers while you're making love with your spouse. So it's like, yeah, okay, no, I don't
yeah.
think so. But
I
yeah, no, it's
remember
interesting.
when I was little, I asked my granddad, and because he said to me, "They're everywhere. So
Mhm.
you cannot break any law. You cannot do anything really bad because they're there. They're watching you all the time." And I go, "Wow, so they're with me in the toilet?" And they go, Yep. And then, much later when I was older, he said, "Let me tell you something, honey. Um, they're not there. They see you, but they don't see you. Just like you see a beam of light, they see a beam of light with you. So they really can't see what you're doing or anything.
Exactly.
But, it's just it's only soul to soul dealing.
Yeah.
It's only a soul connection, a soul to soul dealing. So don't panic. You can do anything, and, they're not going to be watching you.
Exactly. And spirit is not not judgmental. They don't, oh my God, you shouldn't be doing that in the middle of the day. No, that just doesn't cut it. It's like the spirit knows who they're dealing with. So they have no qualms about it. Yeah. I had a couple of questions. Poor Mike said in the beginning, he says, the interview asked one question and Selva went off. I was like, that's the way it works with me. It's a conversation between friends, and everything you told is a part of you that I'm sure that very few people know about, and I'm glad that they got to learn about who Selva is. But I have a question. You've done readings for quite a few years. What is the most common question that people ask you?
I don't get questions.
Oh, they don't ask you questions.
They don't ask questions. When people get a reading,
they
all I get is the sound of the voice.
Right.
And then I start talking. And then after I say, do you have a question? Go, no, you've answered it.
There you go.
So I don't work on question basis. I mean, the only time I ever worked on question basis is when I tried this silly internet line, just recently, 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And it was all about relationships, It was mostly relationship stuff.
Yeah.
So if I was to go by that, I would say relationship with that. But on a normal thing, even if you ever listen to me on Chris' show or in Ken's show or whatever, I don't ask questions, and they don't ask me questions. I just hear the sound of their voice, and I just go off.
Yeah, I think I had one. I had a reading.
When I finish talking, I'll say to you, "Do you have a question?" And then,
And usually it's no. You've answered everything.
It said no. You're right on the money. It's all right. I said, cool, great. I met a new friend. Cool. Yeah.
There you go.
No, so I can't say what the most popular question is because there is no question.
Well, that's perfect because I find sometimes that when I go to shows and a lot of people would be like, have your question ready when you call in. And I can never just choose a question. I just say, okay, give me a general or whatever. So it makes it makes it more interesting when you, for like you, that's the way you do it is exactly the way I would be like, okay, yep, that's perfect. Cause
I feel like the less I know about you, the better reading it can give you. It's like even when I travel around, I always tell people that organize my appointments only to write the first name, no last name, just the first name. So then I know what to call them. So just like Darlene, don't worry about the last name, just Darlene or Mike or Brian or whatever. And the interview comes in, and I know nothing about the person except the first name. So they sit across me. This is face to face in person. And they give me the date of birth, and I use the date of birth not as numerology, but I use it as a key to open you up, like the combination of the lock of a door.
Okay.
And then I go in, and then I start talking. And I just talk, because I'm so shy,
Oh, yes. Very, very shy. I can see that.
So I just talk, and then I said, would you like me to use some cards? And then we do some tarot cards, and we do some palmistry, then we have a chin wag, we just go, and then when I finish, I go, okay, do you have a question? And they go, no. Okay. And that's just the way it is. And I tell people, if you ever go and see a clairvoyant, do not answer their question. You're not there to answer their question. They're there to answer your question. So if you go to a psychic and they ask you questions, walk away. You don't have to answer their questions. They're there to answer your questions. So you say, hey, no. So yeah, but that's that's the way I work. And I don't say that I'm 100% correct too, because I'm human.
Yeah.
And if I have nothing for you, and it does happen sometimes, that you come in and I've got nothing for you, and I'll say, I'm sorry, I've got nothing for you. I can't do a reading. I got nothing for you. We can have a coffee and a chat, and maybe another day will be better. And they go, but I got questions. I said, no, I don't want to hear your questions, because that'll be prompting me. I don't want to be prompted.
Right.
So next time, how about if we reschedule for next week? Maybe today is not the day that you're ready to listen to anything. Maybe today is not the right day for a reading. Or please, here's a list of psychics that I know and I recommend. Please go and see one of them if you like. I will not be offended if you feel that you need a reading today and you want to see someone else. Please, don't hesitate. And that's just the way it is. But I will not be prompt in any way. It's something that, to me, is important, because it's our business. It's a very serious business. I take my work very, very, very seriously, very. And it's the only way I can prove myself.
True.
Is by not knowing anything. So to me, it's fun. When we were little, me and my brother Henry, we used to walk around the house, and we used to stand in front of a house and used to go, oh, let's see what's inside that house. And we would work it out, and then we go and knock at the door. And then when they open the door, we would look, see if we got it right. Go, yes! And then we run off.
Well, that brings me to a question, because you said you always, if somebody comes to you for a reading and you can't connect with them for whatever reason, you will give them the names of other psychics that you know if they really want a reading. Have you ever come into contact and with somebody who says, oh, I can do this, this, and this, I can see and hear spirit, and and they started reading, but you know that for some reason that what they're doing is a bunch of hooey, and I'm putting it very politely, bunch of hogwash, BS, whatever, and it's just the person is doing it because I've never personally seen or had it happen. I've heard somebody who once said that they went to a spirit fair, and the person who was doing readings, who was doing either, I'm not sure whether it was tarot or oracle or whatever, but it was the same reading for each person that came. Somebody who was sitting at the next table was doing that. Have you ever come across that?
Oh, let me tell you a story. Man, integrity is such an important thing for me. For me to recommend you, I've got to know you got integrity.
Yeah.
I've got to know you got integrity. There's a lot of charlatans in our business, a lot of chonkies, but there's a lot of beautiful, gifted psychic as well. In this kind of business, it's not constant money all the time. It's very hard to survive doing what we do, right? Yes. Some weeks you're busy flat out a week, but then you might not get nothing for 3 or 4 months.
Yep.
And at one of my desperate times, I decided to join the circus. The circus is an expo, right? Where people you go to a room and there's a lot of psychics in that. I decided to join a circus. I got invited. They've been at me for years. Selva, come and join us, come and join us. And one day they got me in a weak moment, and I said, yeah, I think I'll do that. And I said to my this wasn't long at all. It was only 3-4 years ago. And I said to my present husband, I said, look, I'm going to join the circus for 3 months. and go around and do readings. And he looked at me and he said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" I says, "Well, we need the money. We got bills. I need to do stuff. You know." He said, "Okay, if you think that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do."
Mm-hmm.
So I did. The first month was okay. I travelled around. It was all right, but I don't mix with any other. I mean, I'm nice to other psychics. I talk to them, but I'm not really. I don't care about other people's business. I really don't. So I'm not a real social butterfly in that sense. And if I sit in a room of people and they're talking about other people, I'll walk away. It's not my thing. But if you're talking about cooking or gardening or spiritual healing, things like that, I'll stay. But if you're talking about other people, it's not my thing. I'm not interested. Yeah. I'm not interested about talking about other people.
Right.
So I didn't mingle too much with them at all. So I was doing readings and stuff like that. And then one day, a lady came and booked in. And I was in a place called Mackay. Yeah, it was Mackay in Queensland. She came for a reading. I've never been to Mackay before. And Mackay is 7,000 kilometres away from my house. So I was away from home. I didn't know anybody except the people that I was working with, stuff like that. This lady came in, and I had nothing for her. Nothing. It was a blank page. Okay. So I said to her, "Look, I'm really sorry, but I can't do a reading. I got nothing for you. So you're going to have to choose one of the other readers because I can't do a reading for you. Yeah. I'm really sorry." So the lady was fine with that. She said, "Wow, thank you." I said, "No, that's just the way I work. If I got nothing, I'm not going to make it up. I'm not into that game." So I went off. So the lady went up and talked to the lady at the front desk and said, "Look, Selva's got nothing for me. I need to choose another reader." And that lady stood up and came to my table, and she says to me, she whispers to me, "Selva, I know you told the lady you got nothing at all, but make it up, all right? She wants to talk to you, so she will talk to you." Right. And I go, so me being shy, of course, you can imagine, on the top of my voice.
I would like to hear that one.
Go, "You want me to make it up? You want me just to tell her a story because she wants to talk to me? No way! I am not a fraud. There's no way I belittle myself to your standard. I just lost it. I can't believe I lost it, but I did." And so I packed my stuff. She says, "What are you doing? You still got another week to go." I said, "I am leaving. I'm walking out of here. There's no way I'm going to be associated with you. And now, I don't know if I can trust these people here. My work is my life." So I packed up and left. And when I walked out, my girlfriend who was sitting there, she goes, "So what are you going to do? You don't know anybody." Anyway, and I said, "Look, I don't know. I'll work it. I'll go back to the unit and I'll try and calm down." So I said, "Bugger it. I'm going down to the pub. I've got my darts with me. I go and have a game of darts and I take it out on the dartboard, as you would." Maybe you wouldn't, but I do.
I've done it that way.
And I said, "I'm going to have a beer and I'm going to let my hair down." I went to the pub and in my head I was saying beer, but out of my mouth came out water.
Uh-huh.
And I go, "I don't want water, I want beer." And it came out water. Anyway, I said, "Okay, fine. Few games of darts, chill down." Then I walked back to the unit where I was staying. And I was at the unit about 5 minutes. There's a knock at the door. Of course, I thought it'd be my boss again, trying to talk me into to come back or whatever. Right? And it wasn't. It was the lady that I told her I had nothing to. She goes, "How'd you find me?" I said, "Oh, before you left, I noticed you talked to a girl and let her know you were going. So I thought you must have been staying together." So I went and asked her, where were you staying? So she gave me the address. And they go, oh. I said, look, I'm really sorry about that. I don't normally lose like that. I don't. It's just my work is my passion.
Mhm.
There's no way I would make things up. This is your life I'm playing with, and you don't want people to tell you bullshit.
You know.
And she goes, no, I admire that on you. And then I got these voices. Says, well, give her a reading now. I said, oh, I can do your reading now though. She goes, you could? I go, yeah. Yeah, they just told me I can do a reading for you. I go, really? I go, so we sat down and she had a reading
Mhm.
and she said, oh, Selva, are you going to do any more readings? I said, look, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know anybody in this place and I've got no money to get back home. I haven't made any money at all. It's been really a struggle from town to town. She goes, I'll take care of that. So anyway, I will organise appointments for you. I'll come every morning and I will tell you how many appointments you got. What are you going to charge? I said, look, at home I charge $100 for private sessions. And she got, no worries. Leave it with me. Anyway, she was coming back every morning for that rest of that week with
Mhm.
12 appointments every day.
Wow.
Anyway, my girlfriend, she stayed at the expo, of course, and but we were sharing a unit. So I do end up saying to Janelle, I said, honey, you got to leave early, and I'm doing readings, so come back late. Okay. So you can't come here before 8:30 at night because I'll still be doing readings. And you go, okay. So of course the boss asked one of the girls, says, how's Selva coping now? She doesn't know anybody in Mackay. And they laughed. They said, Selva, she's doing better than us. She's fully booked. She just, yeah, we can't go home until 8:30 because she's working. And of course, it's just the way it happened, just the way it
Mhm.
happened. So yeah, that was my experience of people that are charlatans. It was just I couldn't believe it. I just could not believe it that people would do that. You know, and you can go to, and that's what happens when people go and ask too many questions all at once. There's the charlatans. What they do, they
Mhm.
use that as a key to it. So if you say to them, my son's having a bit of a drinking problem and he's not showing up to work, is that going to get better? You just told her everything. And if that reader is a good talker, she will tell
Mhm.
you a whole story about your son, what your son's drinking, what's he doing at work, and da 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 da. And then she'll blame it on you, like it's your bad parenting that's driven your son to drink, you know?
Yeah.
And of course, you're there, you gobsmack. And
Mhm.
what happens in the subconscious, there's a little thing that says, oh gosh, she knows more than me.
Yeah. Very
And
true.
that's how people get fed crap. Yeah. So
Mm.
yeah,
Well,
that answer your question?
yeah, it did. I like the way you. I've heard you so many times. Well, actually, it's not been that many times. I think about 4 or 5 different, mostly with Chris. Curious Times. And for anybody else who doesn't know, Curious Times is on this, in this platform. Just look up Curious Times on IntuiTalks, and you'll find her. Her shows are later in the evening, um, Eastern Standard Time. That is. But I've heard you there, and I love the way you are just flat out, straight up, and there's there's no BS. There's no fancying it up with
Nah.
with flowers and sparkles, But you're always positive. I can't think of any time I've ever heard you, have a negative in regards to either a reading or just the way you are. That's one of the reasons why I wanted you here was because I love the way you just are. So which is cool.
Thank you. It's important to
Mm.
be positive. Life is too short.
Yeah.
And you gotta look for that silver lining. Everything happens for a reason. Like when my husband was when I was nursing my husband, and when he was really close to dying, he used to amaze me. He used to so amaze me. He used to carry an oxygen tank, right? And he died of asbestosis. So asbestos is a horrible thing. Anyway, and I'm sure worldwide, there's a compensation you get for asbestosis, but you got to be alive to claim the compensation.
Okay.
Because he couldn't even do that right. God bless him. I come down to the point that I know I'm not destined to have lots of money, because whenever I'm really close to getting good money, something happens.
Yeah.
Well, this was my husband. He needed to be alive to do that, and he died at 20 to 2 in the afternoon on the Wednesday, 17th of September 2008, and 3 o'clock I get a phone call saying, "Oh, his claim is through. Can you bring Brett up to sign the papers?" I said, "No, I can't." I said, "Okay, we'll come down and do it." I said, "No, don't bother. He just died 20 minutes ago." And they go, "Oh, well, we're so sorry. It's null and void now." I said, "Okay." And just hanged up. That's the way it was. But anyway, in the last stages were done, he had an oxygen tank, and he used to like a beer. He loved a beer. He really enjoyed a beer. So he used to go down the pub, and of course I didn't want him drinking too much, so I wouldn't give him too much money to drink, I would drop him off at the pub so he could spend time with the boys, but I would only give him $30, so that way he wouldn't drink that much. But by the time I pick him up, he'll be rotten drunk, I go, "How do you do it?" And then the bar manager, at the end, he said, "Selva, it's been happening for a few weeks now. I might as well tell you how Brett gets extra money for his beer." I said, "Oh, what does he do?" "He sells oxygen. He gets people to hook up to his oxygen tank for a few minutes, and they give him $10, so he buys a beer." I go, "No wonder you run out of oxygen every time you come to the pub. I thought you were just breathing too fast or things like that, and that's why the bottles weren't lasting you." Because I used to bring up a bottle halfway through every time and change his bottle and set him up, and here's another bottle. He was making money out of it.
A sneaky little bugger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was a crafty one, my husband. He was really, but he had fun. He had lots of fun. He enjoyed, and he wouldn't give up smoking. I remember the doctor said to him halfway through the course, he said, "You should give up smoking, Brett. You should really give up smoking." And he goes, "If I give up smoking, am I going to be cured and I'm going to live forever?" And he goes, "Oh, no, it's too late for that." He said, "Well, why should I give it up then? I love smoking. I will smoke until I drop." So he did, and I remember he had his very last smoke at a football game. We went to watch my son Charles play football, which they won the grand final. And my son kicked 10 goals that day. He played like a champ, right, like a champ. This Australian rules, okay? Australian rules football, and it was awesome. And after the game, my husband always used to go to the room with the boys, and they would sing the song and do whatever men do in the change room,
Yeah.
So I sent a message to Charles, because halfway through the game, my husband lit up a smoke and he put it out. I go, "Well, what's wrong?" He said, "I can't smoke." I go, "Oh my God." I said, "Don't die here." And he goes, No, I'm not going to die here." So he put the smoke out, and he just sat there, and he drove home that day. I mean, he would not let me drive home, and this was an hour drive, right? And he just had his oxygen tank, and he was driving, and you could see going off the road, and I would just grab the thing and put him back on the road. I said, "Let me drive," and he goes, "No, I'm driving home." He goes, "I'm taking you home." So he just drove home. But by the time he drove home, we were home for about 10 minutes, and he's lost his voice altogether.
Okay.
And then he just went to bed, and that was A few days later, that was it. So, yeah, but he was he just, he smoked until the very last second. Yeah, yeah.
Get to do what you get to do as long as you want to do it. Mm. Well,
Yeah,
we
you
are
can do what
almost
you
at the end
say.
of this. Yeah, we're almost at the end of the show, and I think I've had a blast. I enjoy talking with you. Everybody in the chat room, big thank you for hanging out. But I would like to have you back.
I
And
love that.
we're it won't be till the end of September, October. And if it's okay with you, when I have you back, we make it a reading show. So those people who want to call in and they
Sure.
can, and or if they have questions. And what I also like to do is if anybody has questions about psychic abilities and what a psychic does and how she does what she does and blah blah blah, you can also ask those questions too. And if you want a reading from Selva, that, but we'll work it out. Selva and I will work it out. Hopefully it'll be in September, October, because fully booked. And if I'm correct, you're off to Hawaii very soon.
Yes, next Saturday.
That's going to
It's
be
your
a blast.
Friday, but my Saturday. Yeah, so
Mm.
I'm doing Chris's show on Thursday instead of Friday this week because when I'm supposed to be doing the show, I'll be on a plane to Maui.
Nice.
So I'm gonna be in Maui for 4 weeks,
That's going to
doing private sessions and even the teaching and the meditation they're gonna be done on donations,
okay.
just like I do at home. So everybody will get a chance to learn and whatever, just on donation basis. It's only the private sessions that I'm charging a fee for, but the teaching and the meditation and the group nights are all donation basis. So I'm really excited, so
Mm.
excited, and so grateful for Corinne McCord who invited me to go to Maui and experience that beautiful land. I've got no idea how it's going to pan out. I've got no idea because
it's going to be fun.
Corinne, she's had blockages after blockages. She hasn't been able to organize much at all. All right.
Okay.
So at the moment, I don't even have enough to recover the money for the airfares yet.
At the moment.
So I
When you
pray.
get there, you never know what's going
I
to
know
happen.
exactly. Spirit has never, ever sent me somewhere where I'm not needed. Ever.
Exactly.
I have never
Mhm.
known the Spirit to send me somewhere where I don't really meet my commitments and do what I do. So I know I'm going in complete faith, in complete trust that I'm meant to go to Maui for whatever reason.
Yep.
And I know that it will fall in place. And that's just the way it is. So I'll be in Maui for 4 weeks, and we'll see what happens. I can't wait. I'm still going to continue to be doing the show while I'm in Maui, so
Oh, that's going to
for
be fun.
Chris and for Ken. So I'm going to continue still doing that. So I'm not going to stop doing the show at all. I said
Internet's
to
everywhere, so why not? Yeah.
Corrine, you're not going to have that slot. I have my commitment to Chris and my commitment to Ken, and I will continue doing that show while I'm in Maui. So I will do that. So I'm sure that if you listen to Chris' show, you'll be able to see what's happening in there because we always have a
Yeah.
good chinwag before we do readings anyway.
Yes.
So it's
Which is
really, really
fun.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to sign off now. Thank you, everybody, for coming into the show. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with my new friend, Selva. And I
That
will
was
let you
short. That was
know.
so fast.
It was only 2 hours.
Wow. Yeah.
It flew by. But yeah, I enjoy learning about my guests too. I think that's what I like. Is the first show that I get to know everybody, and the second show I want to see if Spirit wants to have a chinwag with the rest of us. So everybody, thank you very, very much. Selva, I will share your shows when you're on with Chris and with Ken. Just send me the links, and I'll be keeping an eye for some interesting pictures from Maui. I'm sure we'll see some things fun. Anybody who wants to get a hold of Selva, find her on Facebook. Find her on Chris Curious Times show here on IntuiTalks. And I will see you all next week with I have no idea who. Thanks, Selva.
Thank you. God bless.
God bless. Night, everybody. See you next week.